There we go. Okay, now we're live. Forgot there was a big button I had to hit. There we go. Okay, now we're live. Forgot there was a big button I had to hit. Alright, give everybody just a second to hop in here. Excuse me. All right. All right. So we are going to start here with some news. Going to recap over the day. Ooh, excuse me. I don't know what I just let go on. All right. There we go. All right. So looking as always, starting off, we're going to take a peek at our major indexes. Kind of recap about what we talked about last night and this morning. Just going to go ahead and start with the Qs. Right off the bat, the Qs are up 79%, excuse me, and almost finished the day up 80%, but just a tiny little pullback here. But if we look at the 5-minute, not even really a pullback. If you look at aftermarket close, we actually finished at the high of day. So, I think, what did we talk about yesterday? We said, so we were talking about this inverse head and shoulders on the Qs, and that ended up reversing, and especially this flag here definitely helped pull us out. So you see the shoulder here, head here, and shoulder there as well, and then we got a nice clean breakout. So those of you that were playing tech stocks, Microsoft, you guys probably saw Roblox, ROKU, those kind of stocks. You definitely saw a nice push towards the really the entirety of the day, and we'll go over those stocks too before we end the night. So S&P, looking at SPY. Same thing, we talked about that break or retest of resistance, and we did in fact end the day up against that and around, or excuse me, not even up against, on top of that resistance line here. So looking good in the for the time being. I'll leave it at that. But that prediction this morning held true, up basically 50% today. Let's see, Russell. The Russell finished up 0.46%. All of these major indexes look exactly the same, so I feel kind of silly, like repeating myself. But inverse head and shoulders here, same thing. This one finished the day, like I said, up 0.46%. And one thing that I'm going to cover here when we go over what we could potentially see from these, the kids are playing right now, sorry guys, potentially see from the indexes going into tomorrow, seeing that we did in the day green. So looking at the Dow, that in fact did not play out how I expected. I did expect, thank you. Sorry guys. So I didn't like the price action on the Dow. I was playing cat today, looking for a potential breakout. We didn't get that breakout that we wanted to see, and then I was taking a look at this resistance, or this little setup that we have here, and it does kind of seem that we do have a falling wedge. So we are up today, but lost a lot of our gains and made a lot of effort for really nothing. So we'll look for a potential bounce tomorrow around that 33.8. Let's see, excuse me, yeah, 33.855 level, or the 50-day moving average on the 15-minute time frame. So, and it does look like it has an inverse head and shoulders as well. No doubt about that. So if it did end up bouncing and breaking out of that pattern, then we could definitely see a breakout to the upside, because we did see the Qs in fact kind of break trend today out of what looked to be a potential reversal pattern on a lower time frame. So probably fueled by NVDA and the Qs. Some of the bigger stocks today, those of you who played Alfie, let's see if I got that right. Yeah, LFI, there it is. Oh, no, I got that wrong. LF Alfie, there it is. This one pretty much went crazy all day. I was talking to Atlas when it was around 8, and then ended the day or pushed all the way up to $13. So definitely one to keep on watch after it has I'm sure what will be a healthy pullback. So we'll be paying attention to that one in the future too. All right, so I know a lot of you guys are paying close attention to Bitcoin. The whole entirety of crypto, I have this pattern here, and we've talked about it before, but it's almost like this falling wedge, and we can go out to the daily time frame. I know we don't trade crypto, but it's important to pay attention to these things. But you can see here that we've held this this trend line really well, and honestly, I think that we might end up making like a rounded bottom, or even a cup and handle. I know it's pretty soon to like put that out there, but if we end up rejecting here again, then I would suspect we will spill over. And then end up getting that rebound. But if we continue to hold this trend line as strong as we are, we may end up seeing a reversal on Bitcoin. So let's see. Yeah, it's crazy. Just looking at all the cryptos across the market. So Plug Power, they missed estimates today, but the stock, that one ripped today. I know a lot of you guys in the chat were able to catch Plug Power. You can see here on the daily parabolic movement, huge volume. That one you can potentially expect to move a little bit higher here. You might end up seeing a pullback. I thought about taking plug puts today, but ended up, especially with the deal with Amazon, I'm just going to stay away from playing anything against trend. So, all right, so that's pretty much it for like kind of the top headlines and top news. So I'm just going to go over some of the major indexes. Obviously, just chart the Qs. We're going to start here on the daily and kind of take a look at where we ended, and it is really important. And I think pivotal level that we ended the day at. So, as you can see here, and I think what we can hope for tomorrow at best is a flat day. If not, and I hope I don't overexpose myself as maybe like a little bit of a bear here, but there is a part of me that feels like this. If we get a rejection tomorrow or a pullback tomorrow, every time, and especially with all the news that we have, every time the market falls, it always pumps first. And you can look back historically at that. I've checked, and for the most part, you end up roaring up, and then you have that crazy pullback. Looking at the Qs, we ended the day up against these resistances, and really, if I'm pulling this down, and I kind of have to adjust a little bit, but you can see this wick right here. We ended the day darn near like at, or even, you could even say above, if you look at the 4-hour just one little candle here at the end of the day in aftermarket. So technically it looks like a little bit of a breakout. So tomorrow you could see a pull, a pump up, and then a little bit of a pullback for a retest of that resistance. I think that's really important to pay attention to. And one thing that I always teach people is to always watch where your moving averages are in correlation with your resistance break. So if you are watching, looking for a stock to break out, and let me, there, that's actually a little bit more accurate, I apologize. So actually ended a little bit stronger, but anytime you're watching or looking for a breakout, you're going to be paying attention to where your moving averages are in correlation to the actual price, because if it gets too far away, you want to wait for these moving averages to break out with it. And it's almost like it's an EMA crossover, kind of like I've taught people about, like Alcoa. That's a stock that I use as an example a lot for, you know, EMA crossovers and how things consolidate when they cross resistances and whatnot. So I would be paying close attention to the cues tomorrow, as things could get a little bit choppy, or and this is where I want you guys to either make sure that you have downside protection, right? Because this is where things can get really, really messy. And I know that there's like hyper bear. Every time a market crash comes, all of the big shorts that are out there, they put news out and headlines, and they go on CNBC and they basically say, this is doomsday, you know, for the stock market, and they end up making a giant bag. And it's a form of manipulation in itself, I think. But anyway, so just beware. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but just pay attention. We did actually pump up today on lower volume, which is not really good. We're moving up on declining volume. That's always a tall tale sign for a pullback. So there is a chance that we just fake out and fall flat, like we've seen here. You know, we had a really, really significant pullback here. So I'm just going to be paying close attention. And now that I'm actually looking at this setup right now, and this is the good thing about charting, and I could be wrong, but I think this is actually going to end up being accurate. Geesh, my daughter is going crazy right now. Okay, so if you take a peek here, it kind of looks like we're making a reversal pattern. So just another thing to pay attention to. You can see the angle of those wicks showing a bit of respect as well. But anyway, so with the cues, maybe a little bit more of a pump up, and then maybe a little bit of flat trading, perhaps a big pullback towards the end of the day. I'll update you guys tomorrow in the morning at 8:30 or 8:45, excuse me, Eastern time, on that how it looks in pre-market and whether or not this pattern holds true. So, okay, so looking at the Dow, we talked about the channel trading that was kind of occurring here, and how we really needed a bounce. Let me pull that back up. There we go. We got that bounce, and we have been holding up for the last couple days. We had a really strong push up, and we're up against that 50-day moving average. I was hoping that we would kind of break past this level today, past that 20-day moving average, and kind of cross this linear deviation line. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these. So just to kind of give you like an eyeball, basically split this in half. Yeah, so there we go. All right, so you see it's kind of up against that linear deviation line, and I'd like to see it break above that. If not, if we end up getting a rejection, we already have 3 bounces off support. So 1, 2, 3 bounces, 200-day moving average is right here. So it's going to be really significant and important that we see the Dow move up past that 20-day moving average to give it a little bit of support. So just something to pay attention to. Looking at the 2 hour, yeah, you can actually see if I have to adjust it because of the time frame. Let me see. There we go. Okay. So it looks like we may be getting, and if you see here, I have a reversal pattern as well on the Dow. If you look at the 15-minute, like we talked about previously, you have that reversal pattern at the 200-day moving average on the hourly or on the 15-minute, and you can see that is almost a bearish engulfing. Not quite, but that's enough to let me know that sellers are definitely present here. And if you look at the MACD, it's even starting to lose a little bit of strength. I actually cut CAT towards the end of the day because it was just not, the Dow was setting up this pattern, and then we got that sharp pullback towards the end of the day. So it just ended up closing out that trade. It seemed a little bit more important to just sit on cash and not play against something that I'm feeling uneasy about. All right, so we have the Dow. Yes, we will definitely. Thank you for the. Sorry, guys, I was looking at the chat. So yes, I will chart plug. What's up? Loss took the QQ up for 35%. Oh, awesome, man! I saw your post. Thank you for the shout out, dude. I really appreciate that. Glad you were able to make some dough off of that. We had Microsoft made. We swung Microsoft 265s. And it ended up cutting it because it wasn't actually falling. I didn't cut it for a loss. I cut it for profit. But and I swung snow. I swung 2 contracts, and I took profit on one, and ended up holding another one just to see, because it didn't end up making that significant of a move. But yeah, I'm glad you were able to take that. Do I have a preference on which moving averages? I prefer the EMAs. The reason why I prefer the EMAs is I'm always able to find a time frame where the stock respects them really, really well. I remember teaching, doing a one-on-one with somebody, and I talked about JMIA and how I think it was a 2 hour time frame, that the 50-day moving average, I can't believe I remember this stuff, but the 50-day moving average literally it's like the most respectable moving average for JMIA. And so that the whole ribbon indicator is a really good indicator for getting an idea of momentum. And then when I'm scalping or day trading, I'm always looking at the 6 and the 9-day moving average. For example, ROKU rode the 6-day moving average all the way up today. And if we look at ROKU, you can see just a stellar day. I mean, you can't. I thought I missed out, and we were able to even squeeze out a little bit more gains. And I mean, I think that ROKU has. I think it might be time for a pullback. I mean, we've just gone parabolic. We still have room to run, but if you look at this, like just this setup right now, like it needs just to kind of consolidate and probably head back down to resistance. But if you even look here on the hourly, I mean, sitting right on top of that 9-day moving average, wicking off of it, sitting here, even here you bounce right back up above it. And if I was to put that actually, hold on. That is the 6-day moving average, just like I was talking about. Excuse me. So that's the 6-day moving average, and on the 5-minute, let's see. Yeah, so on the 5-minute, and I'm not going to change it, but it's the 9-day moving average. So, and the reason why, I know that might sound confusing, but the reason why that I have preferences with time frames. So like when I'm scalping things, I'm watching the 1 minute, and I'm watching the hourly, and sometimes I'm watching the 5, in order to kind of get a better idea of what is really going on underneath. And it's actually really good to watch the 1 minute for re-entry, especially at these critical levels. If you look at ROKU on the 1 minute, I mean, it is absolutely crazy. But here, on ROKU, I ended up like taking profit, and then we bounced right off of that 50-day. I saw that the volume flatlined and it didn't make a lower low. It just continued to make a little bit higher highs after that bounce, almost made like a miniature inverse head and shoulders, but and then just took right back off again. So I was able to pay attention to the 1 minute, and so was Justin. But that's just an example of like, the time frame that you're watching directly correlates with the type of trading that you're executing. So if you're scalping, more than likely you're watching a smaller time frame, or if you're day trading, more than likely you're watching, maybe the hourly and the 5. It all depends on your style and your preference. For me, I can see there's a lot of what people call high frequency trading. And when that occurs, which is happening a lot right now, like throughout this market, which causes a lot of fake outs, which obviously frustrates new investors. But you get the bull flags that end up being built on the 1 minute, right? And it just looks like 2 5-minute candles sitting right next to each other, and nobody really can decide, where it's going to go. Or even just like an ascending wedge, letting me know that if I'm in weeklies and I don't want my premiums to get torn up, that I can go ahead and just take profit and look for a place to re-enter the trade, which I was able to do. So, and we ended up taking $400 calls on ROKU as well. But yeah, so 5 and 15 MAs are good for a swing. R5 and 15. I really don't know, man. To be honest with you, that all depends on, just like anything in life, I'm looking for respect. And I just want to see that the time frame. Let me pull up Alacola. And I know some of you guys in the Discord like, oh, not again. But I just want to give you guys an example. Oh, look at that breakout. I forgot about this. Oh, God, did it just repeat? No. Okay, I'm sitting here like freaking out like, wow, that looks exactly like the pattern that I drew before. But so if you see here, I love the EMA crossover on the daily time frame for looking for long swings. We don't have that right now. I'm not seeing a lot of stocks that I'm watching that haven't already crossed over since the dump. So like that, it's almost like there was a certain time that you could execute. And now there's obviously stocks that have fallen and are looking to make those EMA crossovers. And there's even stocks that are still from the COVID dump are underneath weekly and daily 200-day moving average. But an example here of respecting a moving average, for me anyway, so we have the 6-day moving average for AA or Alcola. I want to add like extra letters to that word, I don't know why. But what we get, and normally what you see, and I teach people this a lot, is right before you get that EMA crossover, you'll get a pump. And the most important thing is that you remain on top of it. Bullish is above that 9-day moving average, and bearish is usually under it. Or it depends if it, like obviously if you see a support bounce, and you see that the EMAs are starting to flatten out, which shows that price action isn't being driven down. That's usually when it's a good sign to take it before it climbs above it. There. What was that? Was that AO? Oh. So you get a little bit of consolidation before this EMA crossover happens. And then right when we get that, and you see we get a little bit of push up, a pullback, and then a bounce right off of that 9-day moving average, and then volume steps up, and we just sent it. So for me, it was a personal preference on the way that I like to trade. The 6 and the 5 day moving average is not too far away. So I would say yes. Just knowing that obviously the 5 and the 7. I mean, we could change it right now and see, you know, like. I mean, yeah. I mean, if not, maybe even better than my 6. So maybe I'll take a look at the 5 for swings. But and you can even let's dive into this really quick. So you can see the 6 day or the 5 day moving average when the stock can't make a decision or just sitting on top of it. You tend to trade kind of flat, and especially when the moving averages climb over flat. And it seems like when you climb below it, you get a fall almost immediately. You can see that right here. So struggles to stay above it. The EMA flat lines, right, at a high, and then you could take that to the downside. So, yeah, maybe not bad pocket change. You're about to have some pocket racks. Might need more pockets. Get some cargo pants. All right. I don't know who Jammin5424 is, but thank you for rating my TradingView with likes. Also, TradingView liked my idea on Microsoft. I was all giddy about that this morning. All right, so we were going over the major indexes, the Qs, IWM, and we talked about the Dow. I don't know if I went over IWM. Okay, yeah, so let's go down to the 4 hour because that looks like kind of like garbage. Yeah, so looks like we got weird. We actually got that retest of that 200-day moving average and a bounce back up. So yeah, we finished the day above that downtrend, breaking downtrend. So you may see pennies run tomorrow. 1 second. I gotta shut my window. Creepers don't be creeping. All right. So this one actually looks like it may end up getting that same EMA crossover in now the 5 day moving average. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put it back to the 9. Well, oh, that's the 3. Whoops. Yeah, so I'm gonna put it back down to the 9. It's just a little bit softer, and it's used a little bit more. In fact, I don't know. Maybe you could use them both. We'll do a little bit more digging into that. 11 it took the call. Nice. Okay, pocket change. So yeah, I mean, the 6 day moving average and the 5 day moving average are very bullish moving averages. If you're above it with high volume, bottom line is you're probably making some strong moves. So you can just write that down, like high volume above a bullish moving average or at the moving average crossover. Likely going to see some positive movement in your direction. So, okay, but yeah. Anyway, IWM breaking downtrend. So look for this one to cross today's high, which looks like it was at 228.40. So 228.40. That would be unless you end up getting a gap up. We'll go over that again in the morning. I think a gap up could likely send you. You don't have much room between where we close today and where we are likely to push. So maybe pre-market movement on some pennies might be relatively strong. Let me make sure I got my resistance correct. Oh, actually, so we actually ended the day rejecting or holding up against that resistance. So sometimes when you change time frames on TradingView, your line will move. I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but that does happen quite often. So, but anyway, that's where we finished the day. So I guess that what we're going to be looking for is volume to step in, and obviously a break to the upside. I think strong penny movement based on news catalyst probably. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. IWM has that inverse head and shoulders as well. So look for volume to step up. Might get a little bit of a retest here. Of 227.40. So if it gets down to that level, watch for a bounce there, and then maybe even a step out up to that next level, which the next level is likely, one second, that's a strong move for IWM, but it can muster it. So 230 though could end up in the next 2 days if we continue in this trend. So all right. So I'm going to do something a little bit different really quick before I go back into charting. I'm going to go over option flow with you guys. So if there's a ticker that you guys want me to look at, that you're in long term, whatever the case may be, let me know and we'll look at it together right now. Oh man, look at that. I missed the lead puts. I would have loved to do that. Sorry. Okay. DOCU forward. Well, I know you can see forward right here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go look at unusual, very far out of the money and expire soon. So some unusual call flow, and we're going to go over the ones with high probability or algorithm scores and the details here. So what the heck is an algorithm score? The total value or total order premium versus the days to expiration, the contract's current day volume versus the open interest on the contract, the order's contract quality, and the current day's volume, total day premium, and the order type, multi-chain sweep, single exchange sweep, option book trade. So that is pretty good explanation. Obviously, it comes from forward is F. Yes. Wait, you mean like F as in like dead, or is F as in? I'm just kidding. So UA, Under Armour, and so I'm going to show you guys how, if you guys don't have a watch list, or if you're just looking to paper trade, right? You want to practice your trading, but you don't even know what the hell to trade, but you want to practice, right? So you're getting into charting, you're getting into all this stuff. Go to option flow, right? And see what kind of, there's freaking $50 calls here that expire on 7/16. So you still have a fat chunk of time, and space is one to watch here in the next couple days. So we have, I think the highest algorithm score is ST and G. So let's go look at it real quick. We'll go over space too. Okay, so Sting already got a really strong move here. Let's go look at Sting on the 4 hour. That looks pretty dang good. I don't know what this is. Scorpio tankers. I imagine that's oil based. There you go. Okay, so looking at Ford. Wow, nice flag here. Really, really, really well formed. Nice structure on it. You could even say it's beautiful. Just kidding, Payne. I've got problems. So 22.62. So what was the flow on that? So that's $24 calls. This is at 22.56. Where is 24? Let's go set that target. So 24, that is right there. Somebody could play that move. That's a reasonable, to look at the 4 hour and see a daily flag built like that. You got a little bit of volume here. You have a MACD rollover to the upside. It's starting to pick up volume. Looks like on previous runs here that the RSI is rather reactive up against the 7250 level. There's certain, obviously the RSI goes up to 85, so, and that's overbought, but anyway, that one seems to be hyper reactive around the 74 level, but yeah, it actually looks pretty good. and maybe we could experiment with that one tomorrow. So look at ST. Oh, my daughter has destroyed my markers. Oh, look at this. There's evidence. See that? That's what all of my markers look like. Capless and beat. There's no. Oh Lord, did you see an expo marker around here, P? Oh, I see an orange one. That's not gonna help me. There we go. I see a green one. We got it. Yeah, we'll look at Costco. Robert, we'll take a look at that. Steve, Costco looks really good. We'll go over Costco as well. So what do we have right now? We have DocU. I'll just write you guys' list real quick. So DocU, DKNG, Ford. Sorry. What else do we got? Costco. Yeah. All right. And then right now we're going to take a look at ST and G. And the reason why I'm doing this, guys, is I know a lot of you, and I get this question a lot, like, you know, how do I find, and this isn't my primary source of, obviously, I like to go look at sentiment. Usually I'll be able to catch sentiment, or I'll just be looking around, just scrolling around on StockTwits or Twitter, and something will catch my eye, like somebody's fundamental or even just news post about a company that they found out about, or it could be unrelated. It could just be a Yahoo article that comes out, and I read about a company, and I'm like, okay, well, let me go look up some other companies that do this same thing, right? Because if this company is getting attention, what are these other companies doing? And so, you know, like, I can dive as deep as I want, but just as a way to, like, let's say, you know, like, kind of see where momentum is. You're hunting buffalo. If you guys have heard my Native American analogy, you know, as far as like following, you know, like don't go against the grain in some sense. You do want to pay attention to where big money is going in some regards. So whoever bought those Roblox calls, though, unless they cut right at the top like 2 weeks ago, those things dumped. Oh, also A&F, you said plug. All right. Okay. All right, so I was sorry, I was just making sure I didn't miss anything. So that's just one example of how you can find certain stocks. Sting, $24 calls. Maybe look at a potential entry. You can see it ended the day right here up against 2260. That has been a resistance here. You can see a wick here, wick here. There's also multiple wicks at this level at 23 even. So at the break of 23, looks like a relatively clear path up into the $24 mark. So might be something to check out. Yeah, we'll go over the rest some more later, but let's look at the flow you guys were asking about. So DocU, looks like DocU got a 260 put for 702 and $158,000 in premium. Let me take a peek here at something. I wonder what the red numbers mean. Very active today. Tagged as usual. No, it didn't. But anyway, so we got 158. I wonder if that's selling puts. I want that may be what that is. So it could be to your benefit, but and then on the other side we have 625, 280 calls, $119,000 in that one. So let's take a look at DocuSign. Okay, where's 260 at? So I'm not sure if they're selling premiums, but let's take a peek. Kind of looks like a big cup, and I think a reasonable pullback. Yeah, I see what. So they're looking at this support as a potential pullback for DocuSign, which, if this is a cup, would likely be where you would end up making a handle too. So you would likely bounce around here, consolidate, and then eventually get a breakout. So, okay. Ford. So 12, 17, 21, $17 calls, 625, 1450 calls, 1450 calls again. Different premium at that time. Let's see here, $15 calls, 41K sweep. So kind of looks a little bit iffy. Ford doesn't move that well, but it did have good movement today. Finished the day relative wick filling. So if it does break, and could break definitely the $15 level. Yeah, so $15 right there. If it breaks that, I mean, it might end up going into that 1530 level right there, which is the next strong resistance that you have for Ford. Expecting a pullback on Ford? Oh, on DocuSign? Yeah, I think DocuSign. And real quick, I don't even know, did I chart? No, I did. Well, I don't want to force a trend line because that doesn't look correct. I don't know. It looks like it kind of got corrected. Like it tried to break out and then fell back in. But what I was gonna say is it does look like it's kind of making like an ascending wedge a little bit, but I don't like when the price action consolidates like that and you start to get these really drastic, pullbacks. Not terrible, but you get a pretty strong pullback here. So these people are taking 280 calls, which they could have already taken profit on. So, and it's important obviously to look at what time these calls came in as well. So Ford had a huge move in after hours. What's up, dude? Come here. No? Alright. Do your thing. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Wow. So it traded flat all day and then just shot up. See, it does this though sometimes though. It'll pump like that and then just fall. It's crazy. Alright. Let's see here. Costco. So for some reason it's not showing me, but it's all showing me the call flow. Let me see if I can go look at the raw data really quick. So I see July 16th, 390 calls that came in at 2:40 p.m. Those were near the ask at 7.10, or $700 basically. This one's starting to thin out a little bit too. Starting to see it showing a little bit of weakness. Volume still looks okay, but the RSI is kind of screaming. I don't know if it's going to break 400, Steve, kind of looking at this chart right now. I mean, definitely a really, really strong move. Where is 400? 400 is all the way up here. You have earnings coming up in September. I don't know. I mean, it looks really good breaking out of this heavy consolidation, and when Costco moves, it moves. So I think past this previous all-time high, or this previous high of 393.33, if volume looks good, then I mean, I would at least set your next target as 395 as a psychological number. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look terrible. So 390 is in the money right now. So he might be just trying to collect some premiums as it pushes up further. So he's relatively safe, or whomever owns those is relatively safe in expiration. So hold on, dude. One second. What do you want? Stop digging at the door, my guy. Cat's super needy. Chill guy. Alright. Alright, so we got Costco. Okay, so DKNG. Let's see what the flow looks like for DKNG. No flow. What is the expiration on those? 8. All right, so I'm gonna clear this. We're gonna have to just chart it. So straight up. So it looks like a pretty clear break and downtrend. But then the Hindenburg report came out and sent it back down to support and back underneath the 200-day moving average. The moving averages are fighting against. What did you just do? Oh my god. Sorry, my cat did that. It looks like DKNG wants to go finish filling its gap to 50.55. If it breaks past that, maybe. There's definitely a potential for movement past that. But let's go down to the 4-hour really quick. Okay, so you have a break and downtrend here. So I think anywhere past, okay, so if you get that 50.55, right, and that's right above you, you've got 51. I'll go ahead and just set some levels for you and basically what you need to look out for. So that's going to be where you get your first, you're going to need to pay attention to see if you get any kind of reversal candle. If you do end up getting some type of reversal candle, anything like this, an inverted hammer, these type of candles, this type of candle, then you might want to go ahead and just save your losses. Yeah, do you want me to, are you guys wanting me, well, I kind of charted all of them, but I'll go ahead and do the Saga as well. So it looks like it broke downtrend on the 4-hour, It does look like it would go to 52 with market cooperation. Obviously, it's already had a major pullback. It's already at really, really low levels. DKNG is going to have to come out and basically say something about or publicly disclose their argument against these allegations from Hindenburg, which would likely send people to jail for a long time. So it's a pretty bold claim, which would obviously affect the stock a lot. So you're playing a very, very risky game when you're putting this up. And I would also, or when you're playing stuff like this, you're playing against the grain. So you did get a break in downtrend, but you are operating on relatively low volume, and that's never a good sign. So I think that the 200-day moving average here, 52, that's where you're really going to need to pay close attention to the market and to where DKNG is, volume-wise, price action-wise. And if these moving averages are correlating with the actual price movement to hopefully lead you higher. So, yeah, I got it. There you go. All right. Sorry about that. I read the full Hindenburg report, and I gotta be honest with you, Hindenburg, I don't like Citron, but Hindenburg, I mean, a lot of it's hearsay, so it's nowhere to really put your thumb down and say like, okay, yeah, but they did have some pretty, I don't know, it was pretty convincing in my opinion. And I'm an unbiased, like, I don't ever like really love stocks, and when I do, I end up getting butthurt, later on, because you get attached to certain price action that fades away. Baidu is a perfect example. I used to trade Baidu, felt like every day, forever. And now I can't because it doesn't have the same momentum and volume, and the contract premiums don't move the same. So, Hindenburg in general, I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit of manipulation there. I think when some positions go against them, like DKNG, for example, there's a possibility, or if that's what the position that they're in and they're trying to push it down further, basically like Citron did, because Andrew left literally like, I don't even know how that man still ends up on TV, because like he opened his mouth and just lit up the world on that. But yeah, for sure, Robert, not a problem. But I don't know. I think they're okay. I just always have to pay attention to where we're at on the chart and where their news comes out. If there's something directly correlating with a resistance or a reversal pattern, I know it's loaded. So something important to keep in mind. Thank you guys, by the way, for leaving likes. I do appreciate it. So do the algorithms. They eat them. All right. I know I say that every night. I don't know why. I don't know what YouTube algorithms really are. So except for they need likes. All right. Sava. Let's go take a peek at Sava. Yeah. So I guess this is something that we can do nightly as well, is check on the flow. And I have a secondary resource here for flow if I can't see it on this. Flow algo is going to show me higher probability plays and filter out a lot of noise. As far as Sava, looks like I don't see a lot of flow for Sava at all. The last flow I saw was on 617. So Sava Sciences yesterday selects Premier Research International for phase 3 clinical program in Alzheimer's disease. So let's go look at Sava. Whew. Ouch. Looks like the beginning of a pullback here. Yeah. I'll go from a swing low. Wow, yeah, so if you don't gap up tomorrow on Sava, then I think you did bounce really, really hard off of 71, back up and made a $7 move. So there is strength at this level. So you may end up seeing a reversal. It may end up breaking back into this pattern and running back up, but doesn't look great right now. I will be honest with you. It does. If it does end up dropping, obviously it has the wick to break through. So you may end up just getting some consolidation or even just kind of trading flat here for a minute. All right. All right, so let's go over some of the plays that we took today. ROKU, obviously, you guys can see charting the crap out of that one. But this one, really actually easy to trade. Let's go look at the hourly there. So, let's go to 15.5. Ripped immediately out of the gate. My level that I took it at right above 385.40. I think Justin entered shortly after. He was already looking to take this anyway, but ROKU does look like it needs a little bit of a healthy pullback after it has ripped, let's see, for 1, 2, 3, 4 days straight. Yeah, there's time. BIIB. Yeah, we actually, I think I have that. So what does that mean? No good, no flow, good or bad? So there's no, I guess in a sense, because there's no flow, maybe, I mean, you see that bounce there, that's probably screaming indecision. And I bet you anything that if you were to go look at the weekly chart, this is likely a big doji. I mean, we can go look at it. All right, fingers, please type correctly. Thank you. Would you look at that? So we have a doji there, and it looks like we're forming a bit of a doji. We might form a doji here. So indecision, right? You have basically a drug going into its third phase, and that's obviously going to have people. You know, it's already at a really high level. Do you buy here? Do you sell? Buyers are still trying to keep it up because they're in profits. So kind of in a little bit of a fight here. But if you do notice something about Sava is that on the weekly, it looks like once it hits or kind of consolidates around the 20-day EMA. So it may just consolidate and kind of taper like you see here, right, and pull back into that 50 and then bounce out. So, or news comes out and something, some type of catalyst sends this higher. Let's get some water, if you have a chance. Mm-hmm. Water. Mm-hmm. Thank you. ROKU, I am expecting if we get a sharp pop tomorrow, watch for a fake out on ROKU, because I think that we may end up pulling back. It may not be bad. I wouldn't take a short position out on it unless you just see like a giant drop. But if you can see here, just pay close attention to the hourly and the first hourly close. if you end up just getting like one of these numbers here, then you can probably expect a bit of consolidation until we head back to this support and 20-day EMA. The 20-day EMA backing up my resistance or my support really, really well, showing me that there is quite a bit of respect there. So, yep, so indecision's a little bit better than nothing. You guys are watching a little bit delayed. I think there's like a 15-20 second delay. So if I answer your questions a little bit late, that's why. All right. ROKU. NVDA. The boys caught this one. NVDA actually looks, thank you so much. Maybe we should look at Disney. Okay, so NVIDIA looks as if it wants to absolutely send it. Really, really pent up, really, really high volume. I'm not quite sure how much longer we have. Let me look it up. I'm looking for when the actual split. July 19th. So we still have quite a bit of time until this finishes running. And if we learned our lesson from anything, stocks tend to run into their splits before they end up pulling back. So I'm looking for a wick fill. I would, with volume or even a gap up tomorrow, I'm looking at 756, 65 or 60 really, as a potential entry, with good volume like we've seen for the last 4 days. So I absolutely will share my thoughts on Walmart. Making a what looks to be a inverse hedge. I like when you get a sharp drop, big bounce, likely dead cat, and then another bounce there, and then you end up trending up and kind of getting back up to that dead cat bounce resistance, and then you kind of get a little bit of a pullback. No strength in these candles. If it was good, that's a short, that's weakness. So this is weakness in the bears, this is strength. Like if you didn't know, or if you haven't really seen a good visual, that is selling strength, obviously, and you can see sellers getting into position here, wicks, big fat red candles in pre-market, and then the initial dump covers, people covering their stocks or covering their shorts, and then another leg down. So you may end up getting a inverse head and shoulders here. So watch for the stock to potentially round out and then try and go clear this level right here at 139.75. So BIIB, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, so I do have this one charted. What the heck? Okay, and I wasn't gonna draw a flat support, and I did it anyway, and now I'm wrong, but I initially drew this, which is correct. So BIIB, I would keep that one, and this one should be relatively easy to identify the breakout. So that if you have the 50-day moving average on the hourly time frame, that's that pink line right there. That is perfectly lined up with my resistance. So past 383.35, and also pay attention to the retest. But that is where I would likely take this one for a reversal, because usually on a falling wedge you're going to get a reversal. So yeah, and I'm actually going to move that line down here. So that would be your potential entry. First level would be 391. Second level is going to be that 397.50. Alrighty. Microsoft. So this one actually broke out of this pattern here, running with the Qs. Like I said, Microsoft winning the money today killed me to see it run like that, but it is what it is. I was pretty sorry, 1 second. Sorry. So let's see, Microsoft. Okay, so we caught Microsoft, caught a good bit of the push up to the upside. We also caught Plug. Plug Power ran off of that news. Atlas caught that one. That one is up against, and I'm pretty sure I had. Let's go to the daily. So as you can see, and this is what I talk about when I tell people that when a stock trades flat and has just low volume, it's not a bad place to start picking up speculative options or even speculative like laying into positions. So today earnings came in. Obviously you don't want to play earnings unless you have a safe setup and you like the company and you're okay with that pullback and you plan on buying more, because it's always important when you're looking to make a long-term investment to not put all your eggs in one basket immediately, but to leg into position so that way you can feel good about buying dips rather than panicking because your entire position is red. Go at it strategically. Of course, Robert, not a problem, man. So Plug Power, this one ended up, and we are watching this one tomorrow. I will be watching this one tomorrow off of that Amazon news. I basically put all of my wife's bank account, or fiance's bank account, inside of the stock. So if it doesn't go up, we're screwed. I'm just kidding, Peyton.
You're screwed.
Did put a. But anyway, so 35 tomorrow. I'm looking for a break past 34.75. And I'd be happy to add to my Plug Power position with the next target of 37.35. Okay. You okay? Sorry, somebody just random length lumber futures. Are they falling? That's weird. All right. So 34.75, and then is where I'm going to be looking to take that re-entry. Let's go down to the 4-hour. You can see that's basically where we pulled back. Do expect a little bit of a pullback tomorrow. Look at how far away our moving averages are on Plug Power. Also, I'm going to give you guys a... Did she say I'll be sleeping on the streets? No, she said I'll be screwed, which is basically yes, I'll be sleeping on the street. But so let me give you guys a write this down. It doesn't matter what time, like let's say it's the hourly, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and pin it as the hourly and the daily. 3 green bars, 3 green consecutive days in a row. Take profits because you will get a pullback 9 times out of 10. I haven't seen a lot of times where it hasn't, and I mean bars like this. So when you see you see Plug right here, I mean you have this little pre-market whatever, but you have 1, 2, 3 candles here on the 4-hour time frame. Same here with Plug Power. So remember that even on the daily. So that's important to remember. Alrighty. So my hair is super messy. So That's with my scalp, sorry. All right, let's see here. Wow, that volume was super, super awesome. So maybe a little bit of a flag. I'll be expecting a little bit of a flag tomorrow. No. Well, no. Not any time frame. 5 minute, you could get 10 bars in a row, right? But it's the hourly, the higher time frames that I notice these moves happen more often on. So, and obviously you can see when the whole EV sector went crazy and there's parabolic movement. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, and we get a pullback. And that's why I'm saying super strong candles, right? When momentum is at its height, this is momentum, this is high volume, but this isn't this, right? 3 bars and a pullback. All right. Maxar. So this one was enough to piss off the Pope, as I was. That's for day trading. Well, maybe not. So let's say you swing into a new week, and the first day you get an absolutely incredible pump. You have 5 contracts. You decide that you want to go ahead and take profit on 2 of those contracts because that's going to pay for most or the entirety of your trade, and it's going to reduce your risk. So you, knowing that with strong volume and a bullish candle close, you should and more than likely will see continuation. Your next job or evaluation is going to be where that next candle ends the next day. Obviously, if you get another pump. So what you're going to be doing is on the underneath, if you can, you're going to be playing weeklies, because if you're swing trading, more than likely you're out and should be out at least a week. So you're going to be using weeklies. So if you see a strong pump, you're not just going to be watching your contracts run, you're going to be legging into those positions in and out in order to optimize or basically utilize the lucrativeness of options or weekly options when they go in the money. So okay. Sorry. I think Fubo also made a pretty strong move today. That's another one that we're going to be watching, as you can tell by the many, many lines that I have. Watch this one out of a bull flag tomorrow. You can either take it at 32, 36. I know that Fubo is a highly shorted company, so please be careful. So, yeah, not really. The same strategy doesn't apply to equity, but in some ways it does, because let's say that you buy, like I just said, same situation, right? Let's say it's, and you can even see this is the 4-hour time frame. We got 3 bars right here, and then not even just a pullback, but we get even the next wick up ends up getting pulled right back down underneath the last 3-bar play that we got. And I mean, even this bar right here, I guess it's actually a little bit inaccurate, because this candle I would have liked to see make a new high. But regardless, let's say you swung into Monday, right? And the first initial day, like, you get that big strong pump. I guess this is the 4 hours, so I'm kind of goofing up this metaphor. So I mean, say this is the daily, okay? Let's just pretend this is the daily. So you swing into that day, you get that strong pump during the day, right? So this is where you're going to be actively charting, actively looking for flag, like this flag breakout, right? You have equity position. You can go harder or be more aggressive in that purchase of stock, buy a little bit heavier, right? Because you see volume is picking back up, like you see here. Boom, you get 2 big strong candles right out of that 15-minute flag there. So that's kind of what I mean by and how you can utilize that same strategy when you see, I mean, this is about as clean of a bull flag as you'll ever see in your entire life. That's like out of a textbook. So, Robert, yeah, I can look at Sony. Okay, so Fubo TV, Maxar is actually, I just lost my train of thought on Maxar, sorry about that. A little disappointed in the price action today. It's sitting flat. Okay, so I think what may have happened, could be wrong, is there's someone placed a large order. It could be retail, could be a retirement fund, something like that. And this is maybe somebody's attempt to shake them out. It's holding the 200-day moving average, but below that 38.50 mark, I think I'm going to go ahead and have to let go. So Manny's watching Justin tomorrow. Wow, hilarious. Is watching Plug Power tomorrow. Oh yeah, lumber prices are falling. Eh? Holy shit. Okay, sorry. So we'll do Sony here. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so watch 345.50. $345.50, especially with the bounce off that 200-day moving average and this crossover. Boeing does look like it could break out of this channel if the Dow does what we talked about and does actually move up. Yeah, of course, lost second. Okay, alrighty guys, so let's look at Sony, a last minute request. I used to trade the crap out of this stock. I love Sony. I don't know if we're going to see flow on Sony, as Sony does not yet a lot of option players on it, surprisingly, which makes it kind of a fun stock to trade sometimes. So the last flow that I see was on 6/17, Sony July 29 or July 23rd, $91 puts, and in the same breath, you have July 23rd, 97.50, 97.50 calls. On Sony, same expiration, which it's already there. Maybe they're opening a spread, I don't know. What do you have? Raj, yeah, I'll talk about that in just a second. Let's see. What did you say you had? $100 calls for 122. I think that it may be all right to split the difference as far as time is concerned, and possibly look for a hedge underneath this 200-day moving average. If we do end up seeing a pullback on Sony, or if the market ends up pulling back. But it does look like it's gearing up for a potential double bottom. It has bounced, and you can see that Sony doesn't move quite like other stocks. It just, like, this is the daily. Like, you get 1, 2, 3, up, down, 3, giant gap up. Like, it literally is a monster when you try and track. And so, you know, it's one of those things where, I mean, I can look at this chart and tell you that it looks good on the RSI, and anywhere above 100, which is obviously the strike price that you have. And I kind of separated that price. For some reason, thought it was lower, but 97.70. So I mean, right now, the next level that you have on Sony is $100. If it breaks that, it's likely going to run to 105, where you could likely go shorter expiration and possibly add to that position if it does end up getting that break. It has okay volume, but like I said, it's just channel trading here. So if it ends up getting a reversal, then it will likely go and bounce or hit that support again. So, Raj, can I talk a bit about what is that? Wish. Not sure what. With contract selling into buy pressure, and then buying some weeklies. Do you mean near-term weeklies? Swinging. Okay, I see. Sorry, I have dyslexia anyway, so I was like trying to create a whole new word that doesn't even exist. Okay, so when you're swinging long, right? Let's use Apple. It was right here. So let's say you go out and it's May. It's the end of May, and you're looking right into June, and you're looking at Apple, and it's getting a support bounce, right? And so you're expecting by at least July, right? Or maybe even August, because you want a little bit of an extra time. But so you have those contracts. You have to, in order to buy those contracts, you have to have a price target set. Where am I looking at if we get this bounce, and we know that we've already had a lot of bounces off of this support. So, and we've consolidated around that support multiple times before finally busting out. And I do think that a lot of people had short positions on Apple. Apple is, or would be, like if you said 135, I think it's going to go back to 135 before we see another real rejection on Apple. And I'm going to go out until August and buy those contracts. So the first initial bounce in these days here, right, you're not going to be seeing any green. But you ended up getting a breakout here, and you're evaluating, right? That's not where you want to take profit, right? When you're long like that, you want to watch and see how candles are like the 4-hour candle. Like, what does the first 4-hour candle of the day look like? Is it definitely going to end up being a reversal? And where is my trend line at? You know, where do I need to hold above? Right here, Apple has yet to break below its 9-day moving average. It's still carrying relatively good volume. It still has a lot of, or a decent amount of room on the RSI. And so whenever you do, and when we go down to here to the 4-hour, you can see when you get these, like, and if you're doing good due diligence and you're charting on your way, and you set down trends like you see here, right? So we have a nice clean flag here on the 4-hour time frame. So if you get that 4-hour time frame flag, and you're like, okay, cool, we're getting a little bit of a pullback here. Maybe I'll go out to July, right? Because we're up against under resistance with high volume. SPY looked like it was going to run, and so you're like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab July 16th contracts, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and swing those underneath. I'm going to take profit on them midday, right? Looking at a target, and you're setting a target on those too. So you have to, and this is what separates real traders from amateur or lighter investors who aren't day trading every day, which is totally fine. But if you're looking to take this seriously, then reflecting and writing down these trades and where you want to take these contracts. So you have Apple here. You see the flag being built at the 130 range. You know that if it breaks 130, the next target, is 135. And so, like for example, like we get this rejection at 132. It was really, really harsh, but it's still held above that 20-day moving average, this is the 4-hour time frame. But it's still held really, really strong. Didn't end up making a head and shoulders. So that long contract stays as long as the daily candles stay in trend. That's it. And you cannot separate, you can't create separation, or you have to create separation and a distinction in your mind between the two, and almost like a reward system. Okay, buy puts on these things. If you see a deadpan reversal, right, at 132, grab a 132 put, right? When you see like right in the money, grab a 132 put and ride that momentum down to your nearest support, but just be actively paying attention to where that's at. So, but that's kind of what I mean when you're selling, or utilizing those shorter expiration contracts underneath, whether it be up or down, in order to stay in trend with that contract and the risk that you put out there, and have a plan to be entering and exiting while that underneath contract or equity continues to run. So does that make sense? There's such a delay on YouTube, I have to like wait for a second. Wow, Microsoft. Hey, Tilray. Watch Tilray, guys. Look at Tilray's daily coming out of a falling wedge. Awesome, Raj. Hopefully that helped anybody else paying or watching attention. I'm going to go to bed so I can watch attention tomorrow. But anyway, tomorrow 8:30 Eastern time, or 8:45, excuse me, Eastern time. I'll be on in the morning. Go over the news. Go over the major indexes, where they're at. Whatever that may be, volatility, momentum-wise, Manny's playlist, everybody's playlist, Raj, you've got my hands right now, dude. I can spell these words, but man, when I get to typing, and it's a train wreck when I'm typing, but. Anyway, if you guys have anybody else that would like to join us on YouTube, make sure you guys share this link. And if you guys are not subscribed or whatever, make sure you do so as well, so you guys can stay up to date as well. But alrighty, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Thank you guys for tuning in. Catch you guys tomorrow.